You really need to watch this video because the banks are changing their policies, and I want to make sure that your account doesn't get closed, and also that if you're applying and watching this in the future, you have the right information to open your account and get it approved when you apply going forward. I'm also going to comment about what you need to send when you're applying to a Chase or a Bank of America account in person, but I'm focusing right now on the online banks because in the last 2 weeks, my clients have been getting letters. So I'm going to read those to you and share some of it with you so that you can be aware of it and that you can provide the right information you need to keep your account open. So many people have gotten this letter from Mercury. I'm going to read it to you. Mercury says, we wanted to make you aware about a recent change to our compliance requirements. All companies are now required to add a physical address, which helps us better understand your needs and enhance our legal and regulatory processes. The address we currently have for your business appears to be a P.O. Box, mail center, or registered agent address, which we can no longer accept as a company's physical address. Specifically, we're looking for an address where you do most of your work, either US-based or international. That could be a formal workplace like an office or warehouse, a personal residence if you work from home. Please add a physical address and include the requested supporting documentation by May 11th. After this date, your access will be temporarily restricted until the info is provided. So they need proof of physical address. Now, many clients are adding proof of their address in their home country, and that's kind of what I would recommend to start. But what you need to be aware of is that you cannot be using a commercial mail registered agent, which is a CMRA. I think that's what it stands for. So they get that, and then they use that to open their bank account. Well, the banks are saying, look, this doesn't work anymore. You cannot use this address. You have to provide proof of address. So in this example for Mercury, they will allow you to put a foreign personal address, and it has been working for my clients. So if you have proof of address in your home country, then that's great. The problem is that if you live in Iraq or something, and that's your only address is in there, you need to, figure out a better address to use. And I'm going to talk about this in the next video. I have a subsequent follow-up video, so stay to the end and I'll link that at the top of the follow-up video. But what Relay has said, that despite their best efforts, beginning on April 29th, Relay can't open or approve accounts submitted using a registered agent address as their business address, if the following is also true. One of the owners that live outside the country and submit a foreign address as their personal address, or one of the owners has the same address as their personal address. So you can't use, like, if you work with me, you can't use my office as your personal and your business address. And I'm still testing a lot of stuff out, but you can't do that. So Relay's a little bit more strict, and I'm going to talk about, I have a little table and a chart I'm going to share with you about that. So this really only impacts international clients. Like when I apply to Relay, I can use my home address as my personal address in the States, and then I can still use a virtual mailbox. For you international people, it makes it a little bit potentially more difficult. And for people working with me, we're going to figure it out. We have different solutions, and I'm going to go over that in the video. So the first thing is I want to go over my address rating system. So I have this little chart that I put together. If you are a foreign person, for banks, the best possible way to set your accounts up is to have a U.S. residential address and a U.S. physical business address. So that's the best way. The second best way is having U.S. residential address and then a virtual business address. And that can be like not necessarily a registered agent, but a virtual business address, a mail forwarding. And that's what they talk about in Mercury. And I'm going to talk about that in a second. The third best is having a foreign residential and then a physical business address, like in the U.S., and some kind of proof of address, and I'll go over those options as well. And then the worst is when you're a foreign person and all you have is a virtual address. That's where you can't get your accounts open, and that's basically what they're saying in these letters, that if you have a foreign residential address and a virtual business address, you basically can't use these accounts anymore. But luckily, there's ways around it, and that's why you're here watching this video. So I want to do some distinctions about these business addresses. There's different kinds. Obviously, if you rent a co-working space, it is a physical address, but it's also kind of a mail forwarding address. It depends how it's classified in the system, and I'm going to show you on this app in the next video how we go through that and how we identify the addresses. Then they have mail forwarding addresses, which might be what my office is considered internally at a bank. If there's many clients using sub-suites at my office, which is mail forwarding, and they know it's not a physical office because there's not 10,000 people at this suite or this sub-suite. We use sub-suites now because I'm trying to get around that issue, but we'll see at the end how it goes and what we can avoid it. And you should never use your registered agent as your business address because they don't forward mail. Registered agents only forward mail that they receive that's like legal documents. They're only required to forward like demands or like lawsuits. If someone sues you, they sue your registered agent and then they have to give it to you. But for like regular mail, you won't get it. You need a business address. And I understand having a virtual business address is amazing. I use many of them. I have an office, but I have also many businesses, and I don't have proof of address for all the businesses and all the offices. And I'm always playing around with this. So I'm doing a lot of testing. I'm going to come back to the channel. So subscribe, because I'm going to come back with results of all my testing. Different virtual addresses, utility bills, residential addresses. I'm just doing all kinds of stuff. And I'm going to open it. I have many LLCs. And I'm just going to open accounts and see how it goes. Maybe I'll even take the camera in, like a GoPro in, and go into the bank and film it and do the whole process. Maybe. I don't think I'm that kind of YouTuber, but that's kind of how it works with the bank accounts. What they want is a physical address that's not identified as a mail forwarding address. The best forms of proof of address are generally going to be like a bank statement from a bank. That's usually the easiest. That's what we tell clients. Like, get a personal bank statement with your home address on it, and we'll use that as proof of address. That's generally the one I would recommend, a personal bank statement from your home country. The second would be like a utility bill, like water or power. I don't know how it works with you guys. I mean, in the U.S., a lot of times if you're renting, that'll all be included. I've heard that a Netflix bill might work, or maybe like a Disney Plus or something like that. Like, those could work. It's really whatever a bill you pay. A credit card would be a high one up, but whatever you pay with your address on it. A phone bill is generally the easiest, because you can order a phone bill and get a phone at almost any address, and they still kind of use that as proof of address at the banks, because people are assumed to need phones, and it's kind of a utility, even though it's like a cellular phone. That's what works at Chase Bank, and that's what works at a lot of the physical banks, is having a phone bill. And if you're flying to the U.S. and you want to open a bank account at Chase or Bank of America, we're going to tell you to get a phone bill for your address. The main points are, you need to reply to this notice and submit your information. If Mercury sent you a letter, reply and give them foreign proof of address, but also check and make sure you're not using your registered agent as your business address. You should change it and get a different virtual mailbox or a different physical address. Click this video above right here. I'm filming it right after this, and I broke it into 2 parts because this is kind of a dense video, and we're already almost at 10 minutes. It's a dense video. This video, I'm going to go over how to open bank accounts by basically getting the right address, and how to get the right address. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to go into how to choose the right address that a bank will accept. I'm not going to sell much more. Basically, if you don't have an address, you want to learn more about the addresses and how to find the right address, click on this link, and I'm going to record that video right now. It's going to be a little bit of a screen sharing work through video, and appreciate you being here. Like, subscribe. See you on the next one.